This is our 2017 Honda Pioneer 500 with the manual or automatic transmission on it. We recently put on the full cab, or completed our cab. We had the windshield and the roof before, so we added the Honda soft doors. We added a Copeland rear window, which is actually a thick plastic window compared to Honda's just soft plastic. And we added a cargo bin to it from geardeck.com. And yeah, we also added an Inferno heater, which allows us to get the hot air onto the window because the window always fogs up. So you get two vents there, and then down in here you get a vent there, and then it matches on the other side too. So today was our first real test of how this all worked. We also put on a windshield wiper, and today we were out on the lake in the snow up in Canada here, and you can see we're all full of ice. We got her in the shop to melt off tonight. So we did 8 lengths of the lake there, 4 times there and back, pulling the sleigh, picking up barrels and whatnot. And as you can see inside, we actually didn't have much for snow. The cab, even though there's all kinds of air that can still get in, I'll kind of show you here. So these doors aren't perfect by any means. There's still lots of places for the air to come in, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised as to how little snow actually got in. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend this. It's a million times better than it was. You still get a little bit of buildup back in here, and same thing on the driver's side, you get a little bit, and kind of on the top there we got a little bit of snow. As for the heater definitely seems to keep the window from fogging up, which is the biggest problem. As for heating the inside of this, today it was minus 15 degrees Celsius, and at minus 15 the cab heater, after 4 runs, so that's 5th gear revved right out, running on the tracks, so basically working it as hard as you possibly can, it never actually got warm inside, or I should say it didn't get hot, but it keeps it definitely warmer than it was outside. So every time we'd get back inside, it was definitely warmer, but I wouldn't say that it gets hot inside there. I'm sure, and most people would probably be using this where it's actually not that cold. It would definitely warm it up inside there. But yeah, at minus 15, it is definitely an improvement, but it isn't quite a heater per se, as it is more of a defroster, which is what we really wanted it for. This bin back here, this is a bin for the back of a cargo rack on a car, actually. It came with a special system that attaches to the hitch on your car, actually more so a minivan or a hatchback vehicle. So it would go on the hitch, and then you can actually slide it out away from the car so your hatchback can open. We didn't care about any of that. All we actually wanted was just this bin, but of course they would not sell us this bin separately. We had to buy the whole kit. So now we have the other parts we don't use. What we like about this is it actually has a rubber gasket all the way around it on the sides, and then when it closes it latches nice and tight. And yeah, so you can see we got, with all the whirling snow, we got a little bit there and a little tiny bit there, but that was it. Kept our straps nice and dry and no snow on it. Yeah, this is kind of going back to our last video. The chainsaw press, best thing we've ever done. I think, like we mentioned before, we modified it so we could put it, welded on sideways. Best thing ever. Our little pocket here that has all the posts for the attachments. The post, we have one for tree stands, one for tree stands when we have bait also loaded in the back, so it's up higher, one for ice auger, we got one for a vise, so that way we can put the chainsaw on there and sharpen it when we're out in the bush. That's probably one of the best things we've ever done to this. We made a snowmobile sleigh hitch for it, a nice long extended one that goes past the tracks. We had done a lighter grade one and it actually broke off, so now we built this super heavy duty one, and that's solid. What else can I tell you about this? Fuel mileage is pretty bad. It has a tiny little tank on it too, so you pretty much always want to have some extra fuel with you. The rack on the front has been great. We use that a lot in outfitting for carrying, you know, gun or bows, whatever up front. And then we oftentimes will put extra gear or our tools or whatever we're carrying, we'll put that up front. The bin that we made that goes on the front here that attaches to the front receiver that we made, we actually haven't used very much. It's a great idea, and the thought is there. The only problem is when we're moving this around in either our enclosed trailer or our little flat deck trailer, the box on the front gets in the way of the winch, and the winch is what we're using to actually hold ourselves to the trailer mainly, because we're not going super far distance or super fast. But it's just, it was inconvenient, so we've kind of never used it. I think we used it once after all of our hard work. Yeah. One update is, I'll show you on the other side here, is we actually lit this on fire. We almost lost the whole rig this past spring. So what happened was when we were running with the tracks, there's no protection in here, and some leaves actually piled up. We were running down a old fire road, and the leaves were dried up on the road, but yet once you got into the wooded areas, there was still deep snow. So we were running the tracks still, and those leaves got piled up against the exhaust, we assume, we're not quite sure, and then lit on fire. And then the fire, because they were, it wasn't myself, it was actually my dad and one of the other employees, they were running down the road, so all the wind was blowing by it and they didn't smell the smoke. And by the time they smelled the smoke, it was because the actual boot here caught on fire. So by the time they stopped, they looked in here and all the electrical was on fire, everything was burning. So they managed to back it up into a snowbank, pack it with snow and save it. But we ended up spending, it was a few $1,000s at Honda, because of course it's not covered, and had the whole thing fixed up. We had to get new wiring harness, new boot, a bunch of custom wiring done, and can't remember what else. There was a bunch of little things they found that were all melted or burnt, and we were down for basically our entire spring season. So we used it a little bit for our bear baiting, and then we actually couldn't use it when we had the Americans up because it was out of commission. So luckily we still have our Polaris 6x6 that we keep as a, our extra machine, and then that came and got some more work done with that. But yeah, so that's the update on our little beast here. Oh, and of course I didn't mention the tracks. Tracks, absolutely amazing. You have 0 top speed. I believe it's a 50% reduction or maybe more on here. And so yeah, you have no top speed. I think the fastest we can get with this today pulling the sleigh, we had 45 kilometers an hour on the speedometer, which you figure is roughly half of that. So we're running about 20 or 30 kilometers an hour on the top end. So it's no speed machine, but it pulls like a freight train. It could still use a little more power though, that's for sure. But yeah, that's an update for you guys to check out.